Hey everybody, you may have seen my other video that I posted about the Unfolded Circle Remote 2. Was originally the YIO Remote 2 or YIO or however that one was. This, I think, is going to be, bold statement. This is the one that's going to really make some waves to take over the space that the Harmony will eventually be exiting. And yes, you can still get them. Yes, they're still working, functional, operational. I have one over here. It's back in the box, and it's not being used anymore because I've been using the Remote 2. And took me a while to get set up. I will absolutely admit it's not exactly intuitive the first couple times you try setting this up, but something clicked. I erased everything that I put it back to factory settings, updated all the firmware, and started setting it up once I had a better understanding of how everything worked and how it integrated with my Home Assistant installation integrations, and how I got all that put together with my theater system. Now, the biggest complaint about the Remote 2, and yes, I want to just add that right now it's very extremely dependent on that Home Assistant integration. But if you're already using Home Assistant, or you are, interested in adding that or willing to learn it for the functions of your theater, it's the best front end for a Home Assistant installation I think there is. And big announcement today. Like I said, it's been, admittedly, the biggest complaint is that it's hard to get a hold of. There was a Kickstarter in 2021 that closed in late 2021. We were actually buying this house at the time it closed, so I did not get in on the Kickstarter, but I put my name on the list the same day the Kickstarter closed. And it finally arrived in December, shortly after the Kickstarter backers had received theirs. I think this was still part of that very first batch. There have been very limited new units sold or shipped, I guess, since that happened. And I think they've been overwhelmed with interest and support and people signing up on their waitlist. And they've been trying to figure out a solution to make enough while it's a very small team, and while they continue to develop the software, the firmware itself. And granted, this part of this is all speculation, but this is kind of how I imagine things are happening there with Unfolded Circle. But it's great hardware. It's a great remote. It just is fantastic. And they announced earlier today that they're going to launch another Kickstarter and run it like pre-orders. And they're just getting all that in the works so that they can basically get funding to manufacture more, put together more, and get them shipped out. So now is the time to be on that wait list. Now is the time to make sure you're checking their site, check Kickstarter, because this is going to be your opportunity to get one. I imagine that this will happen much more quickly than the first round did, because the design is done. The hardware design is complete. So it should happen much more quickly, and everyone else can get their hands on that. It seems, for the most part, there are a couple other videos on this, and a lot of people talking about wanting it and wanting to test it. I seem to be one of the only ones on YouTube here that has one in-house, in hand, and in use, the most important aspect of it. So I've got one video out there on it, and I've been thinking about doing another more in-depth, but maybe I'll wait until they're getting closer to be shipping and dig in a little bit more on the capabilities, and maybe programming it a little bit, integrating it with Home Assistant. But it's a great remote. I would highly recommend getting on that wait list right now so that at the very least you're notified. And they did say that they're going to prioritize the folks who've been on the wait list already. They're going to use that order to fulfill this new round of the Kickstarter. They're going to possibly offer some sort of discount offer for the people who have been on that list and waiting. But the big thing is you just want to be notified, because this really is the great, this is, I'm, bold prediction. Everything's the harmony killer, right? Everything is going to be, they're going to take down the giant who's leaving the space. I think this is actually the one that will do it. I really do. We get them a little bit more resources to finish up the software, the firmware, add more integrations. There's already a great community of support on their Discord channel and on, well, mostly on the Discord channel. They have several different ways to reach the company, and none of them are all that effective, but they're a great group of users who are supporting it. They're supporting each other on the Unfolded Circle Discord channel. So this thing, it's just, have I mentioned that I love this remote? It's, even in its not yet completed state in terms of hardware, or in terms of the software and firmware, in conjunction, it works really, really well with Home Assistant. It works really well. And that Home Assistant plugin or integration is what I'm using to control. I have an Anthem processor, a Kaleidoscape system, a Sony Blu-ray player. I have my rack is under my desk here. I have a Lumagen Radiance Pro, an Apple TV, and that's, the JVC projector. And I have all of those in Home Assistant. So honestly, all the remote needs to do is connect to Home Assistant to control everything via IP, which is so much better than IR. In my personal opinion, I love it because the remote knows if the device received that command, because it knows the current state. It doesn't just send out a command and hope it worked. It can monitor the state of the projector and make sure that it actually did shut down. Or it can, it knows, the processor did not receive that, we're going to send it again. So between all that, the Lumagen was, a little tough because we had to find someone who had written an integration. It's not a overly common, it's not a Denon or a Marantz or, some more common consumer products. It's a bit of a specialty boutique company. It's a fantastic piece of gear. But, I had to dig around, and I finally found someone who had written code for their own custom Lumagen integration for Home Assistant. So I was able to implement that and then pull those commands into the remote too via the Home Assistant integration there. And it just really works. There are a few commands on the Anthem and on the Kaleidoscape that I had to learn via the IR remote just to kind of supplement things that weren't there, or things that weren't really great through the IP control integrations. But this remote's fantastic, and I highly recommend you check it out. Go get on the list at least. You're not committing to anything by getting on that the wait list, the sign-up list. Just make sure you're notified when that Kickstarter launches again so that you can maybe pick it up, because it's fantastic. It's pricier than some of the options that are out there right now, but in my opinion, just the hardware, it's between the Sofa Baton and the Ava remote in terms of price. I think I paid $500-ish for this, but it's metal. It's not cheap plastic. It feels It feels really good in your hand. It's got some weight to it. It's not cheaply made. It's very well put together, well selected. Everything on it, including the physical buttons, are customizable. It's all customizable. The screen is customizable. I've added some of my own, you can't see there. You can add your own logos, images, everything, multiple screens you can swipe between. It's fantastic. Go get on that list and let me know what you think. Are you still excited to get one? Did you give up waiting and buy something else? Did you find something that you like that you're gonna stick with? Or did you find something that you've returned? There's a lot of things out there. Nothing has been perfect. This is far from done, but I think it's going to end up being about as close to perfect in terms of performance, build quality, and price point. This is gonna be about as close to perfect as we're gonna get for a new remote control. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Go get on that waitlist. Website link will be in the description below. This is not an affiliate link. I have no affiliation with the company. I just think this is the best remote that is kind of on the edge of being out there and taking over the Harmony space. So that's it. Have a great week, all, and subscribe here, because I am going to do more videos on this remote. I'm going to get out the professional camera instead of just my phone, and we're going to do some better quality content for this remote, because I think it deserves it. The more I use it, the better it gets. So